Yes, sir.
Good to see you. Let's see, would somebody please get the chair for Dondino in case he wants to sit down? Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Dondino. He's been here this is now his third time, has had a great history, a lot of things that we can learn from it, had adversity, has overcome adversity, has a world record, still a world record, right? Okay, has a world record, has gone out there, had ideas, and turned those ideas into something real. So, since Dondino's been here before,
yep.
Would you like a glass of water or anything?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Maybe a beer? No.
Wine? We still have wine.
Anyway, my name is Dondino, and yes, I'm an entertainer. I've been an entertainer almost all my life. I was born in a little town outside of Naples, Italy. I came to the United States against my will. My parents came to the United States when I was 9 years of age, and we landed in Brooklyn, New York, and that's basically where I was raised. And I've always had this inner feeling of doing something for myself. Didn't know how to go about doing it, but I knew I had the ability of music. I played an accordion when I was 6 years of age. Learned how to read music when I came to the United States when I was about 15 years of age. Started my first band when I was 13, almost 14. And by the time I was 15 or 16, I was the bar mitzvah king in Brooklyn, New York, doing the weddings and bar mitzvahs. And I became very popular and in demand. And I said, wow, this is cool. How do I augment this and make it bigger than this? Well, then you hear stories like, well, you have to have a hit record, or you have to have an agent, or you need a financial backer. Well, all of that was great to hear, but because of my, I'll call it a handicap, but it's really not my challenges. I couldn't speak the language, so I couldn't communicate, so I could get that investor to come in, or that manager to handle me, and on and on and on. So I continued working the East Coast from upstate New York to Miami, Florida, and I did that for quite a few years. And all of a sudden I learned, just like when I started in Brooklyn, New York, you build up a reputation. And then I learned that by building up a reputation, I had a following. Now, the following is following me because of my works that I do. But then I never realized until later on in life that I always thought I was a singer, always thought I was an entertainer. But I never realized until later on in life, yeah, that's true trade-wise, but basically I am a product. And that product has to be marketed, that product has to be branded, if the word is branded. And that's a long struggle, and I never understood it. And I never realized until I was about maybe 20, 21 years of age, I can't do this alone by myself. Because I always thought, well, I'm the band leader. You know, I'll just hire a couple of guys, and that's my attitude at that time. And basically, okay, I'm the star of the show. And that works, you know, but that doesn't have longevity. That becomes egotistical as I continued my career until I found out that I was a product. And I found out one day I did a show up in upstate New York at the Catskills, and I worked the big room up there. And it was about maybe 1,800 seats. The audience was 1,800. But then I looked around me. It took approximately 15 to 20 people to put me on the X where I have to stand to perform. And I said, wow, I can't do this by myself. So then as the years progressed, I learned that you need a team. So who's the team? Well, then I learned that I needed a musical director, a musical conductor. And that became my spinal cord and my partnership at that time. And case in point, in the early 70s, I hired a musical director that came from Waterloo, Iowa, and it was 1973. She is still with me today after all these years because she's truly my partner in crime, if that's what I call it. So by having that strength, now I have to join partnerships with the musicians. And I learned that my motto, in other words, I used to say, well, hey, you want to work for me? But then I learned later on in life, you don't work for me, you work with me. And that opened up a door for me that was unbelievable. Have I ever had a hit record? Absolutely not. And agents tell me today, well, no one knows you because you don't have any marquee value, but yet I've worked all over the world, you see? So I've touched people on a one-to-one base. And that one-to-one base, that person I touched told 10 people, now we're networking. If I would have had the internet that's accessible today, I don't know what my limits would have been. I would have probably had no limits at all. Because even booking my show, I always had like $5-10 worth of quarters and dimes and nickels, making calls at phone booths, making hotel reservations, didn't have a cell phone, all of those things. But I learned how to get through that. So to get back to the teamwork I'm talking about, you have to create a team. And then if you watch football, you have a football team, but you have a quarterback. And that's what I am as the entertainer. I'm not the star. I am the quarterback. And the quarterback is the one who basically passes the ball to the competent people that he thinks are going to get that touchdown. Well, I do the same thing on stage. I pass the ball to sax player, and they have an important solo in the show. The backup singers may join me to sing a duet with me. And I've learned you can't do it by yourself. You need a team. And if you don't have that team, you're just fooling yourself. But then I came to another level. I said, well, like all my life as a kid, I said, well, what do I want to be? You know? No, it's not what I want to be. What do I want to do in order to be what I want to be? And I learned that at an early age. So people today that I speak with, oh yeah, when I grow up, I'm going to be a fireman. Kids talk like that. I'm going to be a policeman. Okay, great. That's wonderful. But when you choose, you have to choose with your gunpowder, and that's what I call it, guts and gunpowder, of your talent, your ability, your persistence, because you have to learn how to do that. You just can't say, oh, well, that guy told me no and I didn't get the job. No, that's bull. Persistence. So you go somewhere else and you get that job. Lord knows how many times I got turned down from hotels right here in Las Vegas. No, well, we don't want you. We're looking for this, we're looking for that. But my persistence in the late 70s when I came to Las Vegas, I said, I don't care if I work in in show business terms, a toilet. And a toilet would be the worst club that you could imagine. No one wants to work it, So that's what I did. So my first job was at the Royal Inn Hotel on Convention Center Drive, which became the Debbie Reynolds Hotel. All right? That was my first job. Michael Gahn saw that I had something, you see. But he said to me, loyalty is the most important thing when you're dealing with business. So I never understood that, but I learned that also, is he hired me because he thought I could do the job. But now I have to do the job. And I have to give something back. So what do I give back? I give back my blood, sweat, and tears. I give back to the audience that sits in front of me. And that working relationship lasted for 2 years. Then the hotel changed and sold and whatever. So then I worked the Frontier Hotel. I worked the Hilton Hotel. I worked main showrooms on a strip. I finally said, I'm tired of the push because I'm making a lot of money. But I'm not happy because I'm not giving anything back. And there is no room to give it back because it's like a dog-eat-dog world when you get to a certain level of success. And I actually chose at that time to get off the strip. I would rather be at peace with my heart, and I was no longer doing anything to give back to the people. I was just a thing. That's all I was. And hotels were making tons of money. I was making a lot of money, but I thought, well, I can never improve from this because I don't have that hit record. So it turned around that the hotel basically was just using me for the tourism, packing the room, and they were making the majority of the dollars, which I didn't mind, but I had no room to move and to go forward, and I was no longer happy with internally. So, at that time, I met a young lady who is my wife today after 30 years. We finally decided to get married. And she said to me, I think you need to go downtown. And I said, why? Downtown is like, the winos and this and that. That was my attitude at the time. So I went downtown, and I did a 1-week engagement at the Four Queens Hotel. It was 2 weeks? Okay. So after that 2-week engagement, the hotel owner, Jeannie Hood, who has passed on since, she came to me and said, your show was wonderful. You're a tuxedo type show. Would you object and experiment with me? I want to put you matinees in the afternoon because Las Vegas is 24 hours a day. Why should the people only at night get privileged to have a tuxedo type show? So she put me matinee. That was, 1982. I was there for 13 years on just a roll of the dice. Yes.
Now, how many shows was that per day or per week?
I was doing 3 shows a day, 3 one-hour shows a day with 15, 20 minutes intermission.
6 days.
Huh?
6 days.
6 days a week, 18 shows a week. And then I figured out after 13 years, I performed the song New York, New York 19,000 times.
More than Sinatra.
Yeah, more than Sinatra. And that's without doing one more time, because there's the things I do with New York, New York. Well, okay, one more time, we all do it again. So what I'm trying to say is that you can't give up. You have to be persistent. You cannot take no for an answer. That's not even in my vocabulary. And if someone ever told me, well, you can't do that, that's the wrong thing to tell me because I might not be able to do it, but I'm going to try to do that because I know there's a chance that it could be, could happen for me. So finding your path is kind of like a construction worker. You can't build a house from the top. You got to use the foundation. You got to put the infrastructure in. So the infrastructure in a career is so important as far as I'm concerned because you have to actually look at what am I capable of? And we all say, well, I could do that and I could do that. Okay, do it. That's the answer, Now, and then you'll learn you might not be able to do that, but you may have to trim it a little bit so you can do it in another way, basically. Finding investment dollars was the hardest thing in the world, and I still battle that today because it doesn't matter if I have performed 1 million shows, doesn't matter if I performed in front of 20 million people, an investor looks at me and says, you're an entertainer, And that brings back a memory to my mom. I used to call my mom like twice a week when I was on the road, and for 21 years, every conversation, when are you going to come back home and get a job? That was her attitude. Well, I have a job. I'm making money. I make more money than my 3 brothers put together, But they don't look at it that way. And then if you go into a bank and you apply for financing and you have credit, okay, that's great. Your credit scores are great and so on and so forth. But on the list of categories to lend to organizations, nowhere on that list it says entertainer. And if I want to borrow $300,000 because I want to promote a show, I have to have $300,000 in the bank along with my credit because there's no category for me. So if I have to put up my own money to do that, I might as well do it myself. And I failed many times doing that, but I also became successful many times doing that. And there's no guarantee in anything. The only guarantee you can have is within yourself. And even my mom used to say, well, get a job. And I should say, okay, then I'll be like Dad, work 35, 40 years, and I'll get a gold watch at the end of the 35, 40 years. She said, but you don't have any security. I said, yes, ma'am, I do. I have security within myself. I am my security. And many times in show business, well, the gigs didn't go right, I didn't get the contracts, and I'm unemployed. Now, the true courage comes out and says, I may have to work McDonald's. Okay, big deal. But the gut feeling internally is, I'm just doing all of this to get to where I need to be, you know, and accepting that. But there's a lot of people who say, oh, I'm not going to work, I'm a star. No, no one's a star. You're just a person trying to make a difference. And I hope I'm not rambling or anything, but if you can't make a difference and you can't give something back, you'll never be successful. I don't care who you are. And even the biggest gurus, from Donald Trump to Mr. Gates, trust me, they give back. You have to give back. And you never do a deal that only works one way just for you. Both parties have to benefit from that at all times. And once you lose track of that, well, then you're going to be standing by yourself, unemployed. You know. But anyway, I can go on and on and on, and I talk pretty good English now. With a Brooklyn draw. Yeah. Any questions at all? Or? Yes.
Can you do New York for us?
Security. Anyone here musically inclined, or?
A menu right on it.
I bring my ukulele every day.
Ukulele?
Awesome.
Really? Have you ever played professionally or just a hobby?
No, my brother's the professional. He used to play for Frank Zappa.
Oh yeah, sure.
We have a question in California.
You have a question in California?
Yes, sir. I can't see you.
If you could come over a little bit to your left, more, we can see you. You're kind of off the screen.
Back up to your.
Oh, right here?
Yeah. Where can we see your show? Where you perform at?
I didn't
Just
understand.
where's your show? Where
Can you see your show? If we come to Vegas, like I'm taking a trip to Vegas soon, and I'd like to see your show.
Okay, well, I live in Vegas, and I've been missing in action in Vegas because I left Vegas in 1994 when I left the Four Queens Hotel, and I opened up a theater in Branson, Missouri, and I was there for almost 10 years. And then I traveled the Midwest after Branson Theater. Then I traveled the Midwest, and I'm only back in Las Vegas about a year, almost 2 years now. And work has not been available for me in Las Vegas because I'm not a Circus Soleil. That is actually the predominance of shows, you know. And the entertainment has changed a little bit, but there are still people in my demographics, which would be 55 and over, because I'm more of the Tony Bennett, Engelbert Humperdinck with the Dean Martin personality, that kind of thing, you know, with a small band. And it seems that that style of music no longer is here, but it's still needed. So, again, I go back to what I was saying. You can't give up. I've been turned down by 14 entertainment directors right here in Las Vegas who actually know me, who actually know my track record. But they say that's not what's happening. See? Yeah.
When is your next show?
My next show is going to be in February 28th at the Italian American Club, and we're still working on it. I'm not, you know, it's there, but it's still working on it. But what I'm doing now is I'm traveling out of town. I work Surprise, Arizona. I work Biloxi, Mississippi at the Beauvirage. I work Minnesota. I work Indian casinos, you know, gaming casinos. But you give me this year, I promise you by September, I will be back in Las Vegas working at a facility, and I don't care if it's a toilet.
We have one of our students plays the harp, right? Did you do that professionally? Yes, sir. How about something?
Play the harp.
Wow.
How many people are doing that?
Got about at least
20 years.
played professionally. I studied, by the way, I studied under a great Italian master, a gentleman by the name of Giannici Sendo, the teacher who taught John
Wow.
out of Southwest Philadelphia. So my background is Dennis. And then I came out to California and I met a woman by the name of Mrs. Slamovitz. And I was a jazz musician. I used to play jazz with various different jazz folks.
When you say jazz,
Oh, no. Study guitar.
okay.
A famous guitar
Yeah.
a famous musician. And but I spent that time I was a guitarist, jazz guitar. And I did my thing. And then when I came out to California, it was difficult to find musicians comparable to the East Coast. They just aren't like that. And so I did again focusing on competition. And eventually I jumped into the art, and which became my instrument of passion. And from that point, I never looked back. With the harmony, I was fortunate enough. I got a gig kind of like you. I dated this girl, sister, to an event plan, and she says, "Hey, my sister's boyfriend plays the harp." So she said, "Would you be interested?" And she sent me out on a job, and I did the job. I played like all of the wineries, the vineyard, cathedrals, and churches, and weddings, stuff like that. I did one job. Now one job opened up the door for quite a bit. And lady did get there. She just all kinds of people calling, saying, "Guys, really good." And from that one job, I got the door just opened up. And I played professionally until my mom took it. And then when my mother took it, that changed my whole thing because I had to, what I had. And since then, it was impossible to try to regain that because once you split and leave your dude, and everyone vanishes, it's very difficult to try to regain that.
Well, what you see now is what I am going through, because I was in Branch for 10 years. I was in the Midwest for a good 8, 9 years. So I haven't been back home in 18 years.
Yeah.
So when I come back home, I'm saying, "Oh, I call this guy." Well, they're not there. Well, he retired. So all of your contacts and main people that you formulate are no longer here. So now it took me a year and a half to rekindle relationships and to make new ones with the younger director. And I talked to the director here in Las Vegas, and I won't mention the name or the hotel. He had no idea then it was. And with Vegas is wonderful. Like, she's wonderful. They bring in Beyonce, Britney Spears. That's all wonderful. But it's unbalanced because the people 50, 55 and older, they're not going to pay for to see this show. And if they do one time, right? So what I is that Las Vegas is unbalanced. They have all the wonderful, performers. But if you really think about it, they're recording artists. A recording is not an entertainer. It's a big difference. The entertainer talks to people. The entertainer gets stuff going one-on-one. An entertainer, true entertainer, doesn't want to work a room 1,000 seats, 2,000 seats because you can't see the people, you can't feel them. An entertainer doesn't do concert events, So that's what's missing in Vegas. And yeah, it started Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, intimacy, Sam's Hotel, like that. But that longer exists here. So that's what I am trying to do, and I'm almost there. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Good at or interesting in some of the other aspects that go along with entertainer?
What I found, I had people work from marketing, advertising, branding, put me in the category of what I learned. The most important thing in advertising is one mouth, word of mouth, and that I more success in that than having a staff to try to brand me and to make me that product. So I became the product through the people. And I had an entertainment director for Queens Hotel when they came for him. He said, well, he said, you're going to have to change the show, and maybe cut back rather than 2 weeks a year, cut you back to 40, maybe 30 days. And I looked at it, why is this? Because well, the bartender, the title song, waiter. I said, yeah, but people change every day. And I have built up a following. And then I basically a lot of courage to do that, but he was my boss. Right? I looked at him straight in the face and said, well, I said, I want to comment. How could thousands of people be wrong and you be right? That I have. And he just looked at me. I got it. He was one man trying to dictate my destiny, telling me and putting input. I need to change I need to do whatever I need to do. But yet, the thousands of people I perform have no complaints, and they come back time and time again. And then I learned you have to be capable of a repeat business at one location, like I was at Four Queens for 13 years. And case in point of that, after 13 years, my library of music, I have over 500 charts. I can get out there and as all my charts are under the chair, I can pull up all I want to hear. But it took me 30 years to build that up. With today, you go see the same show on and on. You know? So you have to, and then just like my way, I've been doing it for years. I sing this song every day in the show, but the audience changes, so my inflection and the song changes. You know, because they're actually feeling it. They allow to them. And then somebody says, well, what's your greatest moment? You know, like, what's your most excitement? What turns you on? I said, you're not going to believe me. My most thing that happened was when I walked on stage and there's 400 people. They instantly approve. Instantly. I don't have to wait for the paper or hear you. Well, no, instantly. That, I think that's why I don't need to. That is what it's all about. And they applaud, they smile, and they approve me. And that is the greatest feeling in the world. Greatest feeling. Yes, sir.
Do you get a lot of reviews in that, and like newspapers, entertainment?
Yeah.
Stuff like that, or like the RJ, or.
When I was here, I did. I have tons of reviews.
Yeah.
You know, some good, not really bad, but kind of. You know, you always find that one writer who wants to put a spin on something. You know.
I think
So
the guy's name is Elfman or something out here. He wears an iPad or something. I read his article. It's in the front page. He usually talks about.
Oh, they got the patch on us?
Yeah.
Oh, what's his name? I
Is it
can't.
Elfman or something?
Norm something.
Norm Clark.
Yeah, Norm. Yeah.
Clark.
Yeah. He usually does interviews with
Well,
people that are.
So let's talk about Norm Clark. 2 weeks ago, Norm, well, I know Norm, and he invited me to the Smith Center because they were interviewing Wayne Newton. Okay? So I go there, and I'm looking up at the stage, you know. Now, I am the critic. Not that I want to be, but there's a man who writes columns, you see?
Right.
Now, if I was a critic, I would have to say at the end of that show, you may write incredible columns, but you know nothing about asking questions to an entertainer. And Wayne Newton's there. He's stumbling, and you see Wayne Newton saying, well, aren't you going to ask me anything? You know? So Wayne Newton was ad-libbing and making up his own story.
Really?
Yeah, and it wound up to be that Wayne Newton reversed the roles, and now Wayne Newton is asking Norm Clark questions. So that means that's not his MO. That's not what he does, but he's a great columnist.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I got off the track with you. I wanted to ask you one question.
Yeah, sure.
You still play guitar?
No, I don't. I'm the harpist.
That's all.
But that's cool. That's cool.
Well, I won't harp on you.
Tell us about your book.
My
Your book.
book.
Yeah, didn't you write a book?
Yep, I wrote a book, me and my partner, when I went to Branson in 1994. We're right down the Highway 65. And then all of a sudden, we're about maybe 30 miles from Branson, and all these billboards pop up, like they were growing from the ground. This one's there, Andy Williams, Tony Orlando, Wayne Newton didn't come yet, and that's what the book's all about. So all of a sudden, I saw a beautiful billboard that said, Jesus is coming. I said, cool, because Branson is the Bible Belt, right? And I'm basically a Baptist, even though I'm Italian, but I'm Baptist. I was baptized when I was 13 years old. So then, opposite the highway, almost parallel to Jesus is coming, there is Wayne Newton's billboard with his power hand. It says, Wayne Newton's coming. And my partner said, I wonder who's going to be hit first. So since then, Wayne Newton has come and gone, but Jesus has never come there yet. See? So we said, wouldn't that be a great title for the book? So the name of the book is Jesus is Coming to Branson, and So is Wayne. But it has nothing to do with religion. And it's a story of my life, basically. Not the story of my whole life, but for the past 25 years, the things that I've done, people I've met, and a lot of pictures. In it. Yeah, Amazon.com.
Yeah. Who published that book?
Amazon.com. We publish it.
I see, yeah.
And that's another thing I learned. If you want to do anything, you got to do it yourself first.
Right.
And once you do it yourself, you can get people interested.
Have you worked with other, major entertainers?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you mentioned something about Natalie Wood. I mean, not Natalie Wood, Natalie Cole.
No.
Oh, wow. How about the Motown?
Only people I've worked with the OJs.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Wow.
I worked with Nathaniel Best. I worked with Levert years ago, like in the 80s. But Nathaniel Best is a friend of mine. And a couple of years back, he won an Emmy. And he was with the gospel group, the Fairfield Four. And they were in the movie Brother, Oh Brother, We're Out There.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So he won an Emmy for that. But today, he is also a pastor, has his own church in Mississippi, and we're very close, very tight. Yeah, matter of fact, I talked to him just 2 nights ago. But I've worked with a lot of people. I've worked with Sammy Davis Jr. years ago. I've worked with Bill Cosby in the 80s as a warm-up act, And then after that show, after that week work with him, he was at the Hilton Hotel. So I said, when are you coming back? He said, I'll be back probably in about 6 months. So, great, man, we can work together again. And this is God is my judge. He said, no way. I said, why? We became friends. He said, I don't need a standing ovation before I come out. God's honest truth.
But hey, you brought up the name, so I got to ask you, what do you think about what's going on with Bill Cosby right now? What's your make of that? I mean,
January 10th, I was going to be in Surprise, Arizona, working in front of Bill Cosby for the first time in all these years.
No, he canceled everything.
No, they canceled him.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So they reshuffled. So now I'm going to be there February 10th. Yeah, I was going to be working with him. What I think about that, I never want to be a judge,
right?
Because there's only one.
Sure.
See, you could talk about it. I could talk from my own experiences. On the record, off the record, I'm very above board and straight. There was a time in my life where I said, maybe one year someone's going to knock on my door, and say, well, you're my dad. That kind of thing. Because, you're an entertainer and you party, whatever you do, Never on drugs, but that's the thing. So, an opinion, it's only an opinion. And I'm not saying he's right or wrong, but the opinion I have is he's been with probably many, many, many women, you see?
He's human.
Pardon? He's human. Okay. Whether he actually executed or put something in a drink or whatever, I don't know because I wasn't there. You know, I'm just going by what they're telling me. Let's say if that was the case, I think it was basically a joint venture. Well, let's both get high and let's both do this and let's both do that kind of a thing. But no one's looking at that because he's an iconic figure.
Sure.
And they're just looking to tear him down. That's all they're interested in. Okay. One of the ladies who created this waited 40 years.
That's what.
Like, where have you been?
What happened? Yeah, why all of a sudden?
And she's not really, she's intelligent. She must know the statute of limitations is gone. So is she doing this for self-gain? She's not going to get any money. She's just going to help ruin her reputation. But like I say, I'm not a judge for that. He'll only have to pay that penalty. But I do know many things on a road are joint ventured. And sometimes if you're scorned, well, you have a rebuttal and somebody's looking to take you out.
Sorry to get you off track on it.
Kind of back in another different direction.
Sure.
How difficult was it, when you started publishing your book and getting that published and getting that on Amazon like that?
Well, we not only published that book, I have a foundation, a 501c3, and I'll lead up to what you're saying. And the foundation is we publish children's bilingual books from the age of 0 to 7 years, 8 years of age, and they're in Spanish and English, and I know I'm Italian, but why Spanish? Well, it's not really Spanish, it's Mexican, because that's basically the second language in the United States.
It is.
And I know what it is to be illiterate, with literacy, not stupid, I just can't read, So I've been wanting to do that all my life. It's a passion to give back. So the foundation is 5 years young, and in 5 years, we have given out 17,000 books to children.
That's absolutely wow.
Head Start programs, Children's Hospital.
That's beautiful.
And maybe you can make a note. readtomefoundation.org. Look it up, and then you'll see what I do there.
Read to me.
readtomefoundation.org. So now, when we started that, I went to publishers. I want to publish children's books. I want to do this. I want to do that. And we learned that they take in your book, they'll sign you a contract, and they'll put your book on a shelf. Because they'll keep it there just in case you get lucky, that kind of thing. And the financial end of it doesn't benefit, not that I was looking to make money from it, but it didn't benefit the cost of that. I'd rather do it myself, print 10 books, and give it to kids, rather than printing 10 books, and I can't afford to print them or publish them. The kids will never get it, And the first question, why did I go about publishing?
Just how difficult overall was the process?
The process is very simple, and Amazon is wonderful. They actually give you the template, give you all the instructions, you put your book on, and it's print on demand. So when someone orders a book, they print it and mail it to you within the period of maybe 4 days, 4 or 5 days. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yes, let me insert something about an entertainer in his later life, because that's what I'm going to ask you about. He went and grew grapes. Instead of being entertaining, he grew grapes for his own wine.
Sounds like my dad.
Yeah, so do you and your wife have something planned that you'd like to do when you want to slow your life down?
Great you said that. I get asked by close friends and other people, well, when are you going to retire? Or slow down, like you're saying. And my answer is, what am I going to retire from? When you love what you do, and when you're cursed with a gift, and I mean that with honor. I'm not cursed negative. When you're cursed with a gift and an ability, well, you're not at work, no matter where you go. You just love what you do. So, no, I'll never slow down. I'll probably die on stage someday. Hopefully I will. Jesse Jackson, that's who you look like.
Seriously, my kids, my kids.
I'm thinking, looking at you, not saying.
My kids text me. They always say "keep hope alive" every time they.
Okay, okay.
I get it all the time.
Sir, I'm kind of like new to Las Vegas, so the whole music thing is kind of so fresh to me. But I don't really see anything here in Las Vegas. Where do you see it happening, and what is it here? Because you don't really see any real genres. You see whoever comes through at the particular time. There isn't any core of anything happening. What's happening?
Because there are no more leaders. Everybody's looking to make money.
Well, if that's the case, but I mean, what about the people who are like promoting music, period?
There are none.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm getting at. What's happened in Las Vegas, and I get frustrated thinking about it. You've heard of the terminology. Well, come on down, we have open mic night.
Yeah.
Right? Now, why would a professional want to come down on open mic night? Because he's already honed his craft, he's working, right? He's not getting paid for the open night mic, but they encourage it because they say, well, someone may discover you, you may get a job. No, when you go to open mic night, there aren't any entertainment directors sitting there. There aren't any agents sitting there. So the only one making money is the guy who owns the restaurant. See? Now, the host of that open mic gets paid. But what about the entertainers who are bona fide, Now, if the entertainers, let's say, have no credentials, they don't have that experience, road experience, stage experience, okay, it might be good for them, But they don't want those. They want the veterans. They want the good entertainers to come to open mic night so they can pack their room, they buy dinner, they buy drinks, and we walk away with nothing. I'm trying to change that.
Well, don't they have orchestras or big bands or rock clubs, jazz clubs?
They have jazz clubs, jazz restaurant clubs.
Well, you have to admit now that downtown is doing its turnaround. You have the Beauty Bar. You have they reopened the what the hell's the name of it over here on 11th Street?
Bunkhouse.
Bunkhouse. There's a few, and they get acts in. It might not be this type of music certain people like, but it's rock and roll, punk rock, whatever. I see the music scene somewhat opening up a little bit because of the way downtown is changing. They're they're doing the free concerts all the time now on Fremont Experience. Of course, they're older bands, Deep Purple coming in at 70 years of age, trying to do Smoke on the Water, but but
Trying.
I mean,
Trying.
yeah. So I see some changes, and there's some bands coming out of Las Vegas where you never, like the Killers came out, it was a few years back, but there's some bands now that are reaching national prominence coming out of Vegas that you never did hear of that before.
Okay, okay, that's good. But basically, we've lost the culture.
Well, you've lost
musician
jazz. So.
There's a lot of musicians that become car dealers, salesmen. Well, why? You're a great sax player. What do you do? There's nowhere to work. There are no more single artist-oriented star leaders that hire orchestras, you see? And even with me, Aiden told me, he said, well, you can work with like a duo. I said, no way. He said, well, you can work with tracks. I said, no way. I don't need tracks.
So what are these hotels, man? I mean, what's here? I mean, in Vegas, it's like, the place. But I don't really see it as like that.
Well, I'm not saying this to be rude, but you're approximately how old?
50s?
Okay. What's happening today is not for you.
Perhaps, okay. Okay, I see what you're saying.
It's not for you.
But don't you think
the market that Las Vegas targets at
is the
30 and under.
Don't you think the Smith Center was a step in the right direction?
Smith Center is. I know Clint Holmes very well. We're friends.
I thought that
He
was
does
really
his jazz
cool
thing
idea.
there once a month.
Yeah.
He's great.
And they have an orchestra that.
Where's this?
At the Smith Center Cabaret. room.
By Lou Rouleau's Brain Institute over there by the World Trade Center.
Off of the Smith Center.
Yeah, off of Main Street.
Every
and,
first, I
bottom.
think, Saturday and Sunday of every month, he does 2 shows, one each night. He's great. And he works with live musicians. Me,
Pick up one of the weekly publications like Las Vegas Weekly or something like that. They'll have a schedule in there.
7.
see, I have charts
They'll have them there.
from 4-piece band, 10-piece band, 6 horns, 15-piece band,
And
32-piece
you don't have-
orchestra.
Those musicians aren't here?
No, but when I go on a road, I'll go to Dubuque, Iowa, or Altoona, Iowa. They have a musical contractor, and they contract the band. I just travel with my rhythm section and charts. That's what Vegas used to be, see?
But wouldn't it behoove like one of the hotels, what's old is new again, to go ahead and bring back what, Vegas at its heyday? I think that would bring a lot of people in. I mean, you see that Lady Gaga did an album with Tony Bennett. And so there are more people aware of that type of music. But then again, I mean, I think that the retro thing would definitely go over in a hotel or two, I mean, Vegas when it was, when it was Vegas.
Right.
When
But
it,
you said, like our age would say, oh, Lady Gaga did an album with Tony Bennett. People 30 and under say, oh, man, Tony Bennett sang with Lady Gaga. No, it's him, you see?
yeah.
Because she's trying to validate her play.
Right, right. And then I asked a question, why did she agree to do that? Because she's older, her demographics are changing, and she's trying to latch on to maybe whatever following he has. And
And
smart
her last
business.
album sucked.
Huh?
Oh, her last album tanked. So
Oh,
did she and now with Tony Bennett, it was like at the top of the charts.
Yeah.
So
yes, yes.
What would in your opinion, what would the likelihood of trying to get Vegas? Because actually, the reason why Vegas is Vegas, honestly, to me, is because of the Rat Pack era and all that stuff, obviously.
Yep.
What would the likelihood of the casinos and everybody working together and saying, you know what we should do is take 1 week and just bring all the lounge, that whole atmosphere back, just like for a week. It's just acts, and all the same stuff that they used to do back then. That would be, and you look at the demographics. Most of the people up here are like older people anyway.
Yes, sir.
But what would the likelihood of all of them working together to try to actually do that to like a project?
That project is good. And when I was at the Frontier Hotel, I was the younger guy, first coming up, I work against the Treniers, Freddie Bell, Sam Butera, a couple of other acts, and it was rotating. Every 45 minutes, new act came out. That was Las Vegas. You're 100% right. What's happening now, and you could research this because I already did, Steve Wynn, who, in my opinion, helped turn Vegas around to make it what it is today, is now going to try to turn it around and go back. He is producing right now, and you can buy tickets to it. He's producing a show with the chorus girls, like it used to be, with singers and comics and that kind of thing. He also brought this elderly gentleman, I think it's about maybe 65, from Miami, Florida, and he put him in his lounge. See, so he's starting that. And I think he's testing the waters because a lot of complaints that I hear meeting people, oh, Vegas is not what it used to be. Well, it'll never be what it used to be, but I think we're capable of supplying all genders of music, and especially the things like that intimate show, like the Rat Pack, and so on and so forth,
I'm sorry, I have one more question. I mean, years ago, when it was that time, did they promote more like not the mega stars? I mean, I know they always had the mega star come to one place, but was it more local? Not local, but maybe people that didn't hit the big lights. But like now, it just seems like every mega star comes here and everybody's competing against each other instead of just having acts, around everywhere.
Because they're using Las Vegas as a tool to make billions of dollars for entertainers. Agent will book Beyonce. Now, I'm not saying that She's not good, she's excellent. But is she worth $1 million a show? Come on. But she is, if the venue can provide that. So the agent, managers get together, PR people. They say, well, she got $1 million a show, let's say here in Europe somewhere. Well, we'll bring it to Vegas, put enough hype behind it, and if we structure it right, we can get $2 million a show. And that's how the tickets are $500. Britney Spears, my daughter went to go see her, and she bought a ticket for $300, and she was like 100 rows back. So she had to speak to the maitre d'. So for $650, she got 30 rows back. There are no more maitre d's, you know, that control a room, and it's all a money game. That's all it is. And the record companies have their private deals that they work out, and you'll see hotels have entertainment director. That entertainment director no longer is an entertainment director. He is just the person that oversees the room and make sure that that star gets everything they need. Everything is done from the White Tower above, the hotel, and they control it, and they work with William Morris Agency and the big agencies out of Nashville. So the small guy is no longer here. It's all money. It's all a big game. And I think it's never going to come back to the Rat Pack, you know, but it should come back where you have a couple of smaller venues, so you balance it out a little bit. So if you want to go see Beyonce, that's great. You want to go
and not just smaller venues that are nice, that have the girls and the maitre d' coming. I mean, just that. I'm somebody coming. Hey, wait, let me $5. Give you a.
In the early '80s, when you parked your car at ballet, the guy knew your name. Today, you're a number, and you got to wait 30 minutes for your car. Or you can park it yourself in the garage, but then you're going to need a cab to get to the front door. That's how far, The mega resorts to me are way too big, but I understand why they are. It's money, it's all it is. Sir?
From an entertainment point of view, how does Vegas compare to Branson, Missouri?
The rest of where?
Branson.
Branson, Missouri.
Branson, Missouri is not Las Vegas, even though their promotion and their advertisement claimed they would be. They never will be. Las Vegas is more of, how do I say it? It's the original. Branson tried to make a template of Las Vegas, but you can't make a template of Las Vegas if you have no hotels. So in Branson, when you go, you stay at a motel and you go see shows. There are more theaters than there are motels, or hotels, let's say. So until they could full service that you could stay at a hotel, see a show, and have dinner in the same place. But when you go to Branson, it's like the tour agencies book 3 shows a day, and I learned this from my customers that came in. They book 3 shows a day, but they have to book 3 shows a day, they have to book 3 meals a day, and they have to book rooms for the 2-3 days that they're going to be there. And all of that is separate. It's not a package. You know what I mean? So their feet never touch the ground. And they're so exhausted. I had people sitting in the front row of my theater falling asleep because they have a breakfast show, an afternoon show, and then a late night show, like 8 o'clock at night. And there was a big boom happening there, but I think I got out just in time. And the good plus about it is the majority of theaters today are churches. Theater is a church.
I have a question. Question in California.
No comparison at all.
There's a question in California.
Yes, ma'am.
Finally. Okay, Vegas, we're here. Don't forget about us. Okay. Hi, Dondino. I'm Kathy, and I'm 50 years old. And so I'm about, well, I'm younger than you, I think, but I thought after I lost my job that I was going to have to reinvent myself. And it sounds like that's kind of what you're having to do as well. Earlier in your talk, you talked about how if something isn't working, then you have to tweak it. Now, for years, your show was working, and I appreciate your music. I like Burt Bacharach and all that kind of stuff, so I'm back in the, you know. But now you're having to do maybe something different, and that was my question for you is, so are you willing to do something different? What things are you considering now to get the shows, but to not, because you're old school, but to not compromise your integrity, to not compromise your musical heart? And like, and I'll go and put it this way. Like, for example, there's a violinist, Lindsay Sterling. I don't know if you've heard of her or not. Awesome violinist who does dubstep. Now, it is really cool, and I'm really surprised that I like it because, like I said, I'm older. But anyway, so is that something that you would consider doing, or what will you pull into your show to get those, to tweak yourself a little bit?
Well, yes, I do tweak myself. I do try to keep up with the current events of music, and I'm willing to do anything at all and everything at all to do that, but I will never lower my standards to do that. Now, in my show, yes, I do country, I do Broadway, I do medley, 8-minute long medley of Fiddler on the Roof, and I basically do Reptavia, you know. I do rock and roll, I do country music, I also do a little bit of rap in my show, but I'm not going to do that. In other words, I will never imitate the sound of rap or the sound of any other kind of music. I do it the way it's comfortable for me, because I do have certain standards, and I would never, ever lower those standards to accommodate an entertainment director, let's say. An entertainment director will say, well, I want you to do this, and I want you to do it exactly like Led Zeppelin. I don't know. No, I can't do that.
Right.
Can't do that.
So you're not going to lose you in the music. You're going to retain yourself, but you'll do a little bit of tweaking for this era.
Yeah, of course. I have young people come in my show, and they've never experienced a Dondino show. And I know the first thing when I come out, I know the younger people, maybe 25 and maybe early 30s, they're looking up and saying, oh, man, he looks like a city slicker, you know. But by the time the show is over, they say, hey, man, pretty good show. At least they got something from it, you know. But the worst thing you can do, and I'll talk about that too, the worst thing you can do is to simulate another artist or impersonate another artist. Now, if you're in a movie and you're going to be playing a role of Neil Diamond, okay, that's a role. But if you are going to be booked as a show and you're going to call it a tribute, let's say, to Neil Diamond, or tribute to Frank Sinatra, to me, I would accept that if that artist could be booked on his own name first. Now you can do a tribute. But are they coming to see that artist? Or are they coming to see, to reminisce Frank Sinatra or whatever, you know? And I don't know how many Sinatra tribute shows there are in town, but I guarantee you they've got like 20. Just like a couple of years back, you know, there were like 150,000 Elvises, you know? That kind of thing. And I can see that, but I do Sinatra songs, but I don't impersonate him, and I never want to give that flavor. I will do that the way I need to do it for myself, you know? But yet I fulfill that genre of music for that person in the audience, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
And by the way, I'm 99. And I look terrible. No, I look good.
You look great. I don't know how old you are, but you look great from what I can see with this camera.
Yeah, well, people say, well, how old are you? I said, well, I'm 99. Don't I look great? Then they said, no, really, how old are you? I said, the truth, I'm like 49 and I look terrible. But you never answer that question. Age is nothing.
No, I'll ask you a question. This is my last question. How old are you in your head? How old
In my head? My motto is, I hope I never lose the kid inside of me. I hope I never lose it. because I'm a kid at all times.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a cute story. I was in Branson, Missouri, and the neighbor, they had a son, and he was at that time, I think he was 9 years old, and it was Christmas time. So he always used to come over, Dondino, and he used to, talk with him or whatever. So he come over Christmas time, and he got this remote control car, right? It was a truck. So he got this, Don, he says, come on. So I'm going out there looking at it, and he's maneuvering it and playing, wow, and he's screaming. I said, well, can I try it? He says, no. I said, well, no. He says, my truck. And I got so frustrated, and I'm an adult, that I said, I'm going in the house. I actually went in the house, stomping my feet, and the next day, I went to Walmart in Branson and bought my own truck. So that's the kid inside.
Yeah.
That's true.
My thought. Well, thank you. I've appreciated it.
Thank you. Okay. Yes, sir.
Dondino, do you use social media at all? Like YouTube or, or Facebook?
I hate Facebook.
Just asking.
And why I hate, maybe that's the wrong choice, the word. Not that I hate it, but Facebook opens up the person in such a way where there is no longer privacy.
Oh, no mystery.
See?
Just asking.
And it's like if you're overexposed, well, you become the kid on the block.
Sure, no mystery.
That's as far as media, So on Facebook, I'm on Facebook. You can get me on Facebook. And if you write to me, I won't answer you. I'll answer you this way. Here's my email address, and we can talk. To keep that private, But I don't know how. I don't know. Like people on Facebook say, "Oh yeah, well, I live in Florida, and they basically almost give their address to their friends, and I'm going to be in Europe for 3 months. Well, thanks a lot. Like, how many people are listening to this?
Let's go rub your hands.
Yeah. I mean, it's the wave of the time, and I understand that, and I respect it. But for me, it's not.
Just asking.
Yeah.
Was you at the Venetian like 10 years ago?
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, I was.
I used to work there.
Oh, okay.
I remember the little flyer that they had in the room.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I did a show in the lounge for the Latin Grammy award, and it was like an after party, and it was in the lounge at the Venetian. Actually, the Palazzo. Yeah, right. There's work out there, and it's not that I'm particular, but it's got to be the right thing, Got to be the right thing. And we were just driving here today, and we came by, and I said, look at this. I can't get an entertainment director. I can't get a hotel, interested in me, whatever. And as we're riding, I see the El Cortez. I said, that's it. I'm going to work the El Cortez. Now, when you say El Cortez to certain people, I say, no, because they consider it a bad hotel or rundown or whatever. But I looked at that. I'm seriously thinking, no lie, because I did the Four Queens when the Four Queens was just a small little lounge, and they actually built a mini showroom after a couple of years. Yeah. Who knows? I'll work here. We'll do a show once every Thursday. And you can play your harp. And you could be your mandolin. A ukulele. Thank you. Huh?
Oh, Kathy, we've got a
Let's
Tuesday.
ask one last question.
Okay, one last
spot
question.
open for you.
Who's going to buy lunch?
Oh,
1 to 3.
any other questions, anyone in California? Dennis? Oh, Cedric?
Jesse.
You made this statement that I'm going
We're okay in California.
Thank you.
you said you're not what you want to be, but what you want to do. Could you elaborate?
Sure. Everybody says, well, I want to be this. Well, I want to be this. Well, you can't be anything if you don't do what you want to be. You got to do it. What I'm saying is, it's what I do that will, the evolution of what I do, it will evolve into what I will be. You see? But I never say, well, I want to be Frank Sinatra. I want to be Tom
You
Jones.
say
No.
music is not what I do.
Yeah, okay, yeah. My motto is, what, how's it go? Music,
Music is not what I do, it's who I am.
right, music is not what I do, it's who I am. Yeah.
Introduce us to your wife.
Why?
Because behind every great man is a greater woman.
Thank you, cool.
Her name is Donna. Maiden name is Gummelt. And a married name is Melchiori, which is mine.
Okay, everybody, let's give Dondino a round
No,
of applause.
give you.
And I was fortunate enough to spend about 20 minutes talking to Donna about other things that have to do with the school and Dondino and some projects that are coming up. And we just want you to know that the school is here, the students are here to support your efforts.
Anytime.
Anybody want to work on the Dondino project? Raise your hand.
That's cool.
Okay. We don't know what it is yet, but it's a secret.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, good. Okay, great. Let's take a break.
Okay.
And thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you
Thank
to
you.
California for being there.
Yep.